Alright, y'all, let's get into it. What's going on in Florida. So, while they've now been cutting out books and anything on Black history and that as a protection of the kids and stuff, now, for some more misinformation, they've put an approval of PragerU, being able to use that for teaching. You might not know what PragerU is. Basically, right-wing propaganda education on YouTube. Very biased, very inaccurate. It's straight like gaslighting propaganda. You know what? Let's show you some of this stuff.
I might have to. No one's responding to my texts. People are making fun of me now, calling me Ragela. Maybe I should have just stayed quiet and stayed out of it.
Oh man, it's time. Where's your phone?
Time for what?
Time to visit Martin Luther King. I've really been wanting to meet him. He's like the king. Yeah. King of standing up for what's right. Let's go talk to him.
Okay,
Really? He's the king of standing up? Like they're trying to make things in.
And my sister here stood up for what's right. Because her friends are being mean about it, she isn't sure if she should have.
You're famous for standing up for what's right, and it would be cool to learn more about that from you.
Really? That's what he's famous for? Nothing else comes to mind? Standing up for what's right?
Have you always stood up for what's right?
Well, from a very early age, I was aware of right and wrong. And when I was a boy near my age who also happened to be white, once we started school because of my skin color, he was no longer allowed to play with me. That racism, thinking people are better than or lesser than because of skin color, is wrong. And to hate the wrong, but never the wrongdoer. The Christian faith directs me to love my neighbors, even when they act in ways I don't like. And that's always helped me remain peaceful.
You've experienced lots of
that segregation was indeed permitted. They said things like schools, swimming pools, bathrooms, movie theaters, and such could be separate for white only or black only, as long as they were equal.
It seem even between the two, aren't y'all? But it wasn't. Come on now. It was one above the other, and we know.
Protests remain peaceful. I believe with all my heart in nonviolence.
Oh, tell us about the I Have a Dream speech. My teacher played it for its last Martin Luther King Day, and oh man, you gave me chills, Dr. King.
Y'all know that was not the only speech he's ever given. There's a reason why they push that one and ignore some of his other speeches. Don't half learn Martin Luther King. If you're gonna learn, then learn him proper.
And this led to some positive outcomes. All our different protests in all the different places became known as the Civil Rights Movement. And other civil rights leaders and I were invited to visit the White House and speak with President John F. Kennedy. We set the stage for laws to be passed called the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 65.
A very simplified, kind of version of what happened, watered down, but you know.
And now for a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people.
So you're doing a short history on slavery, and you believe that was the first thing that had to have been said?
It did not start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then. It did not start in 1492 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact, when the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors.
So how did you treat the Taino people and the Carib people? What did you do?
My parents immigrated here from Hiroshima, Japan in the early 1900s to give me and my siblings a better life. I could have easily let bitterness and resentment fill my heart, but that's not who I am. I love this country too much.
Sounds like you turned a really negative situation into a positive one. You never once had a victim mentality.
If this ain't some type of mind game control, reversed mentality thing, trying to hide people.
Despite our nation not always living up to our declaration that all men are created equal, I am still so proud and thankful to be an American.
Even though you were a slave?
Exactly, because I was and not anymore.
Do y'all hear this shit? I couldn't make this up if I tried. Like, this pandering. So, you couldn't teach one thing that made white guy people feel bad. Now you're pandering to them and trying to downplay what we went through. So you don't seem to care about how black kids are gonna feel. This is ridiculous. It's voting this into their school. That place is trash.